Welcome, Annie here. Today we'll be creating this mini pumpkin name place holder. Let's go over the products I use. Now I went ahead and created one of these little mini pumpkins off screen just to get an idea of what I was going to be making. This is a little trial run. I also made it loose enough that if you wanted to stick in a little battery operated votive, you could stick it in there just to create a little more atmosphere for your table. We'll be writing the person's name on the leaf. So let's go over the products I used. We're going to put in some dewdrops, and the first one we're going to use is in the Brilliance collection, and this one is called Gamma Green. We'll be using some Versa Magic in Pumpkin Spice and Versa Magic in Jumbo Java. We'll be using this Stampendous stamp set that's called Damask Fall. We'll be using a leaf and these little swirl designs. We'll also be using 3 pieces of cardstock, and I'll have these measurements for you in the description box below. The first one is in Kraft, and it measures 1/2 inch by 2 inches. The second one is a 2 by 3 piece of green cardstock, and I made it a shade lighter than my Gamma Green so that you can see the nice tone on tone with the leaves. This is where I'll be stamping my leaf, of course. Again, that's 2 by 3. I have an orange piece of cardstock that is 6 inches long. This is where we'll be cutting the strips for our pumpkin. This is a 4 by 6 strip, so it's 4 by 6 long. And also we'll be using our scissors to cut out not only our leaf, but if you wanted to cut your strips, you could use your scissors. We'll be using some tear tape. Now, if you want to cut your strips with your scissors, you can, but I'll be using my trimmer. All right, I'm going to clear everything off my desk so we can get started. We're going to start out by stamping our large flourish onto our orange piece of cardstock. I went ahead and mounted them on my acrylic blocks. I have the large one on one block and the 2 smaller ones on another. This is going to be a tone-on-tone effect, so we're going to have this lighter orange on a darker orange. We're using the Pumpkin Spice and Versa Magic to ink up our stamps, and we're going to stamp them onto this orange cardstock. I start out with the larger flourish, and then I'll be filling in any gaps with the 2 smaller. Now, if you don't like this lighter tone and you want a little bit darker, I recommend you can use gingerbread Versa Magic ink. It's called gingerbread. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep filling in our little orange cardstock with our flourishes. I start with the larger flourish, and then I just keep stamping it and turning it in different directions. Now, this is a tradition my family does every year. On Thanksgiving Eve, as my son calls it, we all get together and we make our desserts. We get together and make desserts, bake all our desserts and cookies and such. And during the day, and then towards the evening, we make a little craft that for our Thanksgiving day. So it could be like we're doing today, placeholders, or it's a little goodie bag or something to that effect. We just do a little something special. We also add a leaf or 2 to our Thanksgiving tree. Every year we have we cut out paper leaves to add to our Thanksgiving tree, and we put something that we're thankful for on a leaf or 2. So we're almost done here with our panel. We're adding the last few little flourishes in there. And we're going to set this aside for a few seconds while we work on our leaf. Now, we're going to get the Gamma Green and we're going to ink this up. Like I said, the Gamma Green is a little bit darker than this lighter green. And this leaf has a little design on it, which has a little pumpkin and some leaves in it. It's really pretty. So that's why you'll see a little bit of a gap in there. It's not that I didn't misstamp it or didn't ink it well. It's just the detail in the stamp. All right, so this large piece we're going to be cutting down into strips of 1/2 inch by 6 inches to create our pumpkin. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and ink up my Kraft cardstock with the Jumbo Java. I want to get all my inking out of the way. Just going to ink up all the edges, so that's for our stem. Now we're going to cut our strips down, like I said, 1/2 inch wide, and I'm going to keep it 6 inches long. I made tick marks on the back of my paper just to make it quicker for myself so I didn't have to sit here and actually measure every time. So you're going to cut 6 of these. You can do 4 or 6 for your pumpkin. The first one I did 4, and this one I'm going to do 6. So I'm going to set those aside while I fussy cut our leaf out. But before I cut my leaf out, to make it easier to write the name, I'm going to grab a quick thin fine point Sharpie in black, and I'm going to write the person's name. The name I'm writing is Liam, which is my son's name. This is my son's little pumpkin for his spot. So there it is. Now I'm just going to quickly fussy cut it out. I do not know if these stamp set has dies or not, but I do not have them, so fussy cutting them is pretty easy. It's a pretty easy shape to go around. So like I was saying, our family has a different tradition of making a little something special, and I figured I'd share that tradition with you today. So we're almost done cutting our leaf, and once we do that, we'll set that aside so we can start creating our stem. So to create our stem, we're going to bring in some Terra tape, and we're going to start curling our paper here to make it easy for ourselves. I just use my fingers and curl it. I'm going to grab a skewer because I want a nice tight stem. On my first little model there that I didn't do it as tight, and I didn't like it as much because it opened too much. So I'm going to make this one a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to curl this onto my stem, and I want it to grip and stay that way, so I'm just going to add a little bit more Terra tape to the other side. And I'm going to, see here is a little too open, so I just want it to be a little bit tighter. I'm going to go ahead and then roll it using the skewer to get the stem going. And then I'll remove the skewer once I have it, the little roll going. And then I'll just remove the last of the backing of the Terra tape on the other end and curl it onto itself. There you go, our stem is done. Now we can set that aside with our leaf for a few seconds. Now let's work on our pumpkin base. We're going to flip our little pumpkin strips upside down with the stamped side down. We're going to put a little bit of Terra tape in the center of all these little strips. You try to get it as centered as possible. I did one, and then I just kept moving them closer to try to keep them matching. And on some of these, I did them a little bit bigger Terra tape strips. And then I got crazy about it being showing, but it doesn't matter because it's on the inside. But it still bugged me enough, so I kept fiddling with it. You don't have to worry about that if you get your strips a little bit longer. Just do your best to get it on there. You're going to put it on all except for one. So you're going to put it on 5 of them if you're doing the 6 version of it. And if you're doing the 4 version, you'll do it on 3 of your pumpkin strips. Okay, so now we're going to start creating our pumpkin base. You'll remove the adhesive to one strip. You're going to put that vertically. Then you're going to place another one horizontally on top, creating a plus sign. Just try to make sure that it's centered as best as possible. Then you're going to remove the adhesive off of this, and you're going to put the next one diagonally. Then you remove the adhesive, and you'll place another strip, creating basically an X on top. So the other diagonal in the other direction. This is a quick and easy little cute pumpkin you can make with the kids as well. You can have them decorate it and stamp it, or you can just have them do it plain if you do not want to break out all the inks and stuff with them. Alright, so you're going to keep doing this until you've done all your strips, filling it all in. And here we go with our last one. This is the one that doesn't have any ink on top. Not ink, any adhesive on top. So now we're going to put adhesive on all those little tips there on one side only. So we're going to start here and go around until we have them all set. See, I'm pointing right here on all those. I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive, and I'm just putting a little Terra tape there and cutting off the extra. And I'm going to go around, and once you have those all there, we're going to start assembling our pumpkin. Here we go, we're almost done. There. Cut off any extra adhesive. And now we're going to start. You'll have this weird asterisk looking thing with adhesive only on one side. We're going to remove our adhesive and just start adhering it together. I did curl it up a little bit here, and I also removed the adhesive tabs just to make it a little faster for us. And basically you're going to have them meet together towards the center. So basically one little arm touches the other little arm, but you're keeping the same strips, the same arms. So each strip meets up with the same end, with the opposite end of that same strip. I hope that makes sense. So then you just keep doing that until you have this cute little ball, and you just get everybody settled into the center. There you go. And I like to push it down a little bit because pumpkins aren't perfectly round. They have like these little odd shapes. So here's our leaf. You can use your on-point glue to adhere it, or you can use some more Terra tape. I'm going to go with Terra tape. I'm going to give my leaf a little bit of curl, and I'm going to make sure my name is right, it's not upside down, and then I'm going to remove the backing off the Terra tape. Any extra adhesive I'm going to place onto itself. Then I'm just going to adhere it to the center of our little pumpkin there. Now I'm going to do the same thing to our stem. I'm going to cut a little piece of Terra tape. I'm going to place our stem on top of it, rub it on our table here just to make sure I got a nice little firm grip on it. Remove the backing, push any adhesive onto itself, and then press it to the center of our pumpkin. Push it down, make sure it's on there good, and your pumpkin is finished. I mean, this is a quick and easy little project. So there you can see the tone on tone of our little pumpkin and the name and leaf design. It's adorable. It's perfect for your little place settings. So let's go over the products we used again. Brilliance and Gamma Green for our leaf. We have Jumbo Java for our stem that we used on our craft. And the pumpkin spice that we used on our little pumpkin strips here to create that nice tone on tone. Imagine Craft's Terra tape to put it all together. It went really quick with that. And the Stampendous Damask fall stamp set, we used the leaf and the little flourishes. And that's it. Thank you so much for being here today. I'll have everything in the description box for you. And make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can get more inspiration from our design team. Thank you, and I hope you found some inspiration today.